panel go ahead and come to the front for me. And while they're making their way to the front, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Dawn Lowe, and I'm the Executive Director for the Greensburg Decatur County Chamber of Commerce. We want to welcome you tonight to the information session part 2. So part 1 we held back in October. We brought in a representative from Ivy Tech, and that person was the expert and talked a lot about what was predicted to happen here in Decatur County and in the city of Greensburg. And through their efforts, as well as information that was pulled from Purdue University and Indiana University, as well as many other resources, we came up with the infographic that you had on the back table. So if you didn't have a chance to pick that up, dropping papers, it looks like this. So these are the numbers that all of our groups are kind of collectively going. All of our groups are collectively looking at as a guide for any decisions that have been made, any plans that have been prepared. So we're going to take a second and just kind of go over this infographic really quick. In the state of Indiana, they are anticipating 145 to 581,000 visitors. And yes, that is a very, very big range. And what that tells us is we don't really know, right? We don't really know what is going to happen. But we are anticipating a very large response, and we are planning for the big numbers. In Decatur County, that equates to anywhere from 5 to 20,000 visitors right here in Decatur County. So again, a lot of people coming into our communities, which we are super excited about. And then if you look down to that next line, traffic, we have potential gridlocks happening of up to 7 to 10 hours. And if you have been following any of the social media from people who have been in a total eclipse in other locations, this is serious, this is real. There are a lot of posts that have taken place where people are saying, please heed warning. When they say you're going to be gridlocked for 7 to 10 hours, you are truly going to be gridlocked for that long. Viewing areas, we've got 2 different viewing areas, 2 different efforts that have happened here within Decatur County that the people up here are going to talk a little bit more in detail about, and that is Pirate Park and the Decatur County Community 4-H Fairgrounds. So you'll hear a little bit more about that later. Hospitality, our local and regional hotels, motels, bed and breakfasts are booked or are booking very, very quickly. We had a couple of representatives this morning in the first session that we held, and one of them disclosed to me that they have someone who is booked from Hawaii. Yeah, let that sink in for a minute. So that's kind of cool. And then Eclipse glasses, they do have to be a specific certified number, and Visit Greensburg's going to talk a little bit more about that. Those are for sale on their table for $1 each, and there's some more information on viewing safety that we're going to go through. So I'd like to introduce our panel to you today, and I'm going to go in the order that I have them on my paper. So we have with us today Mayor Joshua Marsh with the City of Greensburg. We have Jeremy Pazel representing Decatur County Commissioners, and assisting him will also be Kim Carpenter, efforts through the Decatur County 4-H Community Fairgrounds, as well as Power of the Past. Philip Dywert with Visit Greensburg. And Chief McNeely and Chief Stormer are going to visit with you about public safety efforts. And then we have Brad Spear, and I've got Calvin Venable. Calvin Venable, and they're going to be talking about emergency management response efforts. So without further ado, I'm going to let Mayor Marsh kick it off, and he's going to talk about all the efforts that have taken place, the history of how this kind of came to be, and efforts out at Pirate Park.
Thanks, Dawn. I don't know that she mentioned it, but we're using the mic. I know it's kind of a small room because we are recording this and that folks can view it later and catch up. But thank you for being here. Welcome to City Hall. This project has been in the works locally for, Chief McNeely actually keeps a tally of 54 weeks since we started meeting well over a year ago now, very regularly about the eclipse and what that looks like. So the team that's sitting up here with you represents an entire cross-section of public safety and governments and different bureaus that have helped put together not only great events, So this side of the room is sort of event-oriented, but also from a public safety side of point, which is this side of the room. So we're going to share a little bit of all of that this evening. Over the last year, the teams have been working really hard to build out a plan that hopefully you will never see, recognize, or know exist, which is to help keep us safe and protect the community from those that are visiting internally, those with bad intentions, those with good intentions, and those that maybe just need services as normal through this day. It is a normal day with the addition of maybe 5 to 20,000 people in our community. So while it may seem that in the last 6 weeks this has really came from 0 to 100, it really hasn't. Over the last year, a tremendous amount of work that we hope we don't need from a response plan has been put in place, but also a lot has been done to make sure that the event goes off without a hitch. All of this is said, we've spent a lot of countless hours, thousands of dollars across the community for a day that it may rain, which is less than ideal. But we have worked towards a plan and a path forward that is good for the event to happen. We want it to be 65 and sunny so that we can welcome those visitors and our neighbors to our community to be sure that they have a good experience when they visit Greensburg for the total solar eclipse. And so we've got a couple different events. Commissioner Pazel and Kim are going to talk about the events that's sort of happening at the fairgrounds, and then I'm going to talk just very briefly about what we're doing out at Pirate Park. Philip's going to talk a little bit about the different items that are going on kind of county-wide as it relates to tourism, and then we'll get into the public safety, and we'll have lots of time for questions and answers at the end as well. So on the Pirate Park side, we have been working very diligently. We've got a couple different days set up, Sunday and Monday, so April 7th and April 8th. Hopefully those dates are now ingrained in your head, and that anything that's brought up around that time, you put it off until after the eclipse happens. But Pirate Park is sort of our area of focus. We want people to go there so that we can manage them from a public safety perspective. We can provide the best venue possible. Main Street Greensburg is going to partner with us. They're going to set up a beer garden that's going to be part of our first Dora event, hopefully. And that will be at Pirate Park. We are bringing Friends of Fred Food Truck Festival back. They've been here a couple years to tremendous success. They're going to bring some food truck options. And then we've scheduled some really great bands. We've got a Carrie Underwood tribute band that's coming in. We've got Hi-Fi Honey, and then Soul Pocket that's the lineup on Sunday. That'll be about noon to 5-ish. There is a lineup of events over here on the table with Kristen as well. And Soul Pocket was actually one of the Summer Concert Series bands last year that got canceled, so we're glad to have them back this year. And then on Monday, we've got a band called Classic Rock Review. They actually have an entire set dedicated to sort of like lunar and space-themed songs. So if you think of like Dark Side of the Moon and those kinds of items, that's what they're going to be focused on. And then Nut and Fancy locally is going to consume a large part of the day surrounding the eclipse. So the eclipse is at 3:06 in the afternoon. It lasts about 3.5 minutes here, which is a big number. One of these guys over here will talk about that a little bit, but it's a big, long time, which generates even more interest in it from a eclipse viewing perspective. But it really is about an hour and a half to 2 hours before that is when it really starts, and it's about an hour and a half to 2 hours after that for it to get out of the eclipse mode. So we're really looking at about that 3 to 4 hour event span that is sort of centered around 3 o'clock. So we think traffic will be the absolute worst, sort of leading from that 11 to 1, and then from 4 to 6 is really a big concern. So that's what we're doing out there. And then one other thing, and Chief asked this question earlier, but I'm going to steal it and bring it up earlier in the conversation. You want to cross that off your list? Yeah. Thanks. How many of you are here as a resident, like a resident only? Okay. How many of you are here from like a small business? And how many of you are here from like a large industry or corporate? Okay. We had a very good group this morning that was very mixed too, so we're glad to have you. That helps us sort of better understand where we're at. We do see continued expansion of grassroots communications about this. We are working on sending out mailers that are in our utility bill, so if you're a city resident, be on the lookout for that. It will have about the same information you got this evening, but it's a good opportunity to maybe pass that on to someone else. So with that, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Pazel for their portion of this as well.
Thank you, Josh. So from the county's perspective, this conversation had started because we want to aid with EMS, with EMA, with law enforcement to be able to help control traffic and to control people. And so we started an event out at the fairgrounds where we're gonna have camping, both primitive tent camping and actual RV camper camping out there. We're gonna have some other events that Kim can go through. But our focus was trying to provide a location where people can come in and park, whether it's their vehicle or their camper, and be here before the event. That way, if they want to stay past the event, we can control the traffic that way by not having everybody leave Decatur County all right at the same time. And so that's why we were trying to maybe bring some people in early. They can stay for the weekend, and then if they want to stay past the actual eclipse, they can, because they're going to be there. And so we tried to bring an event or a couple of events here so that we could get people here, bring them to the fairgrounds, have them at one location that's easy access to the highway, so that when they do want to leave, they have an easy way to get out. They aren't hopefully parking on the side of the road. We're gonna have plenty of parking for them out there. So hopefully this works, and we'll just wait and see. And Kim will give you a little bit more of a perspective on what the actual events are that hopefully are gonna bring some people to that area so that we can control the situation as much as we can.
Hi, I'm Kim. I coordinate for the Greensburg Power of the Past, and the commissioners invited me to come on board with them. So that's how I got into this. I just want to say that I know a lot of people don't think that many people are going to come to this area, and it's really hard to fathom. But as a whole, the top 10 cities in Indiana, Greensburg is in that top 10 cities to view the eclipse. So we are on the radar to get those people coming in. So with that being said, at the fairgrounds, we're going for a hometown feel, where we're going to feature local vendors, local food vendors, like Crazy Dave's, Fuzzy Top, Thornbrook's Ice Cream. He's the one that sets at Harvest. That's pretty recognizable. And Hillbilly Corner are just a few of the ones that we are bringing in with us. Some of the activities we have going on, we have pony rides. We have the Barnyard Party Club, which is a petting zoo. They have everything from an alligator to a camel, and that's all free, so come out and do that. And we're gonna do a vendor market. We're doing pedal pulls, which the Power of the Past always does. It's a kid's pedal pull, but we also have an adult pedal pull, so it's pretty competitive. That will all go on in the Pavilion building, and then flea marketers will be in the commercial building in the headquarters. We have a DJ coming, and we will have karaoke. So if anybody wants to come out and sing at karaoke, they can show their talents. We have partnered and brought in the bowling alley in town, and they were here represented this evening. And they are going to be open at 10 o'clock each day for bowling. They are also saying they're going to open up the putt-putt. And I don't know if you got a final decision on the sweet shop or not.
We're going to try to at least maybe do ice cream cones and stuff.
Okay.
We're going to try to have some of that going.
So, and then also if somebody needs an adult beverage, they're going to be the ones to go. That will be our indoor beer garden for the fairground area. So we're glad that they come on with us. But I mean, it's going to be a great time in the park or in the fairgrounds. We're going to bring out the picnic tables, and everybody can enjoy just a hometown kind of a countryside. I do know, weather permitting, or time permitting, actually, the Power of the Past does plan on doing their spring planting. We always do some spring planting, and then they harvest at our show. So they're going to do some of that. So there'll be some demonstrations there if you want to see that. So that pretty much, we're going to start on the Friday night will be when campers could arrive. We're going to let campers stay all the way to Tuesday. And then we will be going on the 6th, 7th, and 8th. So we will start our events on Saturday. So, and I have a schedule of events that I will post on the viewing Eclipse at Greensburg on the Facebook page. And I know it's getting spread around to some other places. And you'll be able to pick one up at the grounds, see what the events are and where they're at. So with that, I think that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Kim, and I do want to thank her for the amount of work that she's done and the other folks from Power of the Past. They've done a great job. They've been wonderful partners here getting this put together. We've definitely leaned on their experience from putting the Power of the Past on for all those years, that they've really helped drive this project forward. Who do we want? Phil, you want to talk next?
I can.
All right, here you go.
Thank you. Hey, I'm Philip with Visit Greensburg. you just heard about the two larger events that are happening at Pirate Park and at the fairgrounds. I know the Pride Group is doing an event at North Park. I know Greensburg, Decatur County Public Library has several Eclipse-related activities going on between now and April 8th. Anybody else that has things going on, whether organizations, businesses, whatever, let us know at Visit Greensburg, and we can get those on our website, promote it on social media. We want to make sure that everybody knows what's going on, has an opportunity to go find the best event that fits them, whether it's residents or people coming in from out of town. We are selling at the visitor center. We're selling Eclipse glasses. We've had a lot of people ask about these, and actually the last couple of weeks we've had a lot of people coming in and had an opportunity to talk to a lot of people who are having folks coming in from out of town, visitors, family members, friends, whatever, from California, Florida, Texas, Tennessee, kind of all over the southeast, southern part of the country. I know Kim said, almost every conversation I have about the Eclipse, every meeting I go to that's related to the Eclipse, it starts with people asking, you don't really think this many people are going to come down that day, do you? I don't know. I don't think, none of us here know. We're trying to plan for, if we do get the high end of those numbers that we're being told, making sure that it's as safe for everybody and an enjoyable day for everybody as we can make it be. Okay, Eclipse glasses, I started to say, these are, if you look it up online, it's a ISO, which is an international standardization. These are NASA, there's a list online that NASA approves, list of vendors. We ordered ours. If anybody's curious, because I've had some people ask, this is Rainbow Symphony is the company we ordered ours from. If you get on that website, it's the second one that's listed. So those are safe. They're $1 each. We have some here tonight. You're welcome to purchase or stop by the visitor center. We're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 5. One of the things that came up, this was kind of a new fact for me, came up in our board meeting last week. If you have a camera, a phone with a camera, the mechanism that you use to take photographs is very similar to your eyeball. So it's not safe to use your camera or your phone during the eclipse. The sun is so enormously bright that it can damage your eyeballs. It can also damage your phone or your camera. We kind of researched just a little bit the last couple days. There are some options, or you can kind of stick it over your camera lens or your phone lens. I was going to bring my phone out and kind of demonstrate. Like you can almost do that. From what we've kind of read and seen, I'm not sure that that's advisable. One of the things that we're kind of recommending that people do is just take the Eclipse glasses and hold it over your lens when you're going to try to take a picture. But the other thing, I kind of, and I know Erica this morning said this, I thought it was a very good point, I agree. We're going to hire a photographer for that day. I think the city also has a photographer. Did I hear that?
Yeah, but not for the Eclipse.
For the Pirate Park, yeah. I suspect the Daily News will be out taking pictures at it. There will be options to find pictures from that day. I think you'll probably have a more pleasant experience just enjoying it, experiencing it. But please make sure you do use these glasses. Sunglasses are not anywhere near strong enough to protect your eyes, and the damage that the sun can do is pretty significant. I don't know if you've been driving and like the sun kind of catches you unexpectedly. You kind of see bright spots. That's the effect that the eclipse can have on or the sun just in general, can have on your eyes. And if you look at it for an extended period of time, you can have that like retina damage that lasts 3 to 6 months and can even go blind permanently. So it's not common, but it can happen. Just something to be aware of. Be safe. We have flyers back there too with more information about cameras and safety and taking pictures during the eclipse. But yeah, anybody has any questions, we'll have a Q&A afterwards.
Yeah, they just got started.
That's what I thought.
They did there. My name's Nathan Sturmer. I'm the fire chief for the city of Greensburg, which also protects through Washington Township the 4-H fairgrounds. Really, our deal is mainly a supportive deal of supporting EMS as well as law enforcement as we do this in major event planning. We will have full staffing. Both our fire stations will be fully staffed. We will also be staffed with full-time personnel out at both sites during normal business hours and into the evening. as well as having more crews on duty. So we have 2 stations, as most know, one south of the tracks, one up here on Ireland. We will not be moving our apparatus out of there, so we will have somewhat of a potential delay if there is major gridlock. We hope not to, and we plan to staff all of our apparatus for that. We've been able to make some other plans that Chief McNeely will talk about on the law enforcement side, as well as ambulance. So we're kind of pushing a be your own first responder. If you're a diabetic or you have loved ones that have to get medicine, or if you take medicine or food to loved ones, they need to make sure that you've got that done on Sunday ahead of time. The goal, the plan, the prevailing thought is by the time noon comes around on Monday, anything you needed to do, it's going to be too late. Because once that starts, people are going to be getting in place. During the eclipse itself, you'll probably be able to maneuver around, but as soon as that is over, most people are going to be headed to their vehicles, and that is it. In Hopkinsville, Kentucky in 2017, they had a solar eclipse that was 1 minute, 17 seconds long. Ours is double that. So there was gridlock from Hopkinsville, which is kind of the Tennessee-Kentucky line, Fort Campbell area, to Evansville was around 4 to 5 hours. And that's usually a 2.5 hour, 3 hour trip. Obviously, we sit right on the interstate as well as major county roads. So we are prepared for everybody to come in from Cincinnati, northern Kentucky area up to the Greensburg area to view, and as well as those that decide to go to Indianapolis or Franklin or those areas, they're going to have to be passing right through here to get home. So the state police has put out the message of arrive early, stay late. We would like to think that people will do that, but we know anytime there's a concert, anytime there's any type of major venue like that, as soon as it's out, or 5 or less than 2-3 minutes after it starts, everybody's going to be headed to their cars and have the same idea. If you are a diabetic yourself, make sure you pack snacks. Make sure you have peanut butter crackers in your car. Make sure you have gas. Make sure your cars are filled up. If you're an electric vehicle, make sure you know where the local charging stations are. We will have wreckers on standby. All of our wrecking companies are aware of what's going on. They will be staged throughout the county as well as on the interstate to quickly maneuver to get cars out of the way to keep emergency lanes open. So we're trying to think of and plan for any little thing that happens. We have some plans, obviously, that for us we're not going to share, but we know traffic is going to be an issue. Major industries that run here in town, one of the big questions is the train going to run? Yes, the train is going to run. Major industries are going to work. That's second shift, third shift, everything. So there is going to be a potential for even more traffic on top of what we normally have. And if anybody's out around the Honda area, around 315, it's very difficult to maneuver on a normal business day. We put this into it around that same time. It is not. So we will be at both sites. We will have a command post or a central location where we'll be monitoring not only the weather, but all of the events across the state, as well as our local event. We'll give a number. I don't have the number. I think Chief McNeely's got the number. We have set up a phone tree. One thing we didn't talk about was our 911 services this morning. So I'll briefly mention that our 911 services will be the same as you always do. You will call 911. We do have and it's on the flyer. Chief McNeely will give it a non-emergency number that is set up. So if you have questions about traffic, parking, alternative routes, anything like that, you can call the non-emergency number. We are upstaffing our dispatch center for 911 calls because those calls that are in every day are still going to come in. We make anywhere from 12 to 100 calls a day between police, fire, and EMS. And those calls are going to continue to happen no matter if the eclipse is here or not. So we're doing double duty. Those dispatchers are doing double duty. So we ask that you call this non-emergency number that will be staffed to do that. They will have the option to route you into dispatch if you get confused or it ends up being an emergency that you need something. They will be able to do that. You won't have to hang up and call back. But just like in any type of severe weather, winter weather, we're going to be putting out kind of advisories and warnings and messages that you need to get across, and really hope people heed that. alternative means of transportation, UTVs, golf carts, bicycles. And the last public warning piece is that we've kind of partnered with WTRE on the AM side of things, and we will be giving messages throughout there. So we'll have some pre-recorded messages. We'll be able to call in and get on live if necessary. And we plan only to do that if there's some major traffic, if we have some major traffic accident that is just compounding the problem of you need to stay away from this area. For some people, it's going to be hard, and we realize that. But even if one, two, three, 4 cars can get turned around, that's 4 cars we don't have to worry about. So patience is going to be the name of the game that day. And again, if you feel like you need emergency services, we urge you to call 911. Okay. We're not asking anybody to change that, but we are asking for a little bit of patience and grace, as we might not be able to get there as quick as what you would think, quick as what you expect, or quick as what you would hope. But we are on the way. We have plenty of staff to take care of the problem. It's just, we got to get there. So we'll be glad to answer any of your public safety questions that we can when we're done. Chief McNeely.
Thank you. So on the law enforcement side of things, a lot of what I'll talk about is kind of mirrored with the sheriff's department. The sheriff wanted to be here. He had another engagement tonight. We are pre-deploying law enforcement in the city as well as in the county in different locations to help cut down on the possibility of fighting traffic to get to an emergency. So that is one of the most major things that we're doing with that. A lot of the questions I've had are about, I have private property and I don't want anybody on my property. Obviously, that is your right. You don't want anybody there. So you will need to take steps if that is your choice, not to have anybody on your property, to block off driveways, block off field entrances, stuff like that. From a law enforcement perspective, that's going to be a little lower on our normal than on our normal day for us. As far as getting to that, we're gonna really concentrate on the 911 stuff, the accidents, any type of emergency before we would something like a trespass or something like that. The other thing that we are going to be doing, the sheriff's department and us, on property damage accidents. And I know Dana's going to shiver a little bit when I say this, but minor fender benders, door dings, we're probably going to ask them to take pictures, exchange information, and move on. We just can't dedicate emergency resources to minor little accidents like that. And so that's the instructions they'll be getting from dispatch if they call in something like that. Like they said, there is a phone bank that's going to be open. That phone number is 844-260-1230. 844-260-1230. It's also on some of the publications that you received today. It's also on some of the social media that's been coming out and will continue to come out for the next month and a few days. And so that, again, is for if people are not from this area and have questions. Even if you're from this area and you don't know exactly how do I get into this location or how do I get to a certain spot, where's the best place to go eat tonight, something like that, they may be able to help you out. In the event space, for city at least, and law enforcement, we will have a presence there as well, just as much as we will have in each of the communities. And then the sheriff's department will be deployed at the fairgrounds as well throughout the course of the events. Like the fire chief said, we would encourage, if you're coming to one of the events and you have the ability to use alternate transportation, that would be great. If you want to walk, use a walking trail, bicycle, UTV, golf carts, if they're properly registered, please. And we will actually have some specialized parking. If you choose to do that, it'll get you a little bit closer than having to park maybe in the elementary school parking lot or something like that, and then walk over to Pirate Park. The parking for the event at Pirate Park, we are luckily going to be able to use the high school and the elementary school parking lot at Greensburg. They're working with us. There's no charge at either location for parking. Am I correct?
No, we are charging.
You are charging?
Yes.
For parking, okay.
We're doing $5 Saturday and Sunday, $10 on Sunday to help cover some of our costs.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely.
$10 Monday.
Okay. And then for Greensburg at the Pirate Park event, that'll all be free. We will be closing, well, I'll get the closures in a minute. We're going to try to funnel everybody coming in on Big Blue. So Lehman Avenue, the backside of the elementary school, will actually be closed as people are coming in, and that just helps us be able to control the parking and control traffic flow a little bit. But then once the event is over, we're going to open that up and try to help get people directed towards the interstate. We know a lot of the people that are coming into our community are going to be coming from the southeast, just because that's what the data is telling us. It's what Purdue says, and IU and Ivy Tech and everybody else. And so we know that we have to get them back towards 74, towards 46, towards 421. And so you'll start to see as we get close to the event, there'll be some signs go up that have I-74 placards on them with directional arrows. And that's to help kind of flow people back that way. So at the elementary school, if you've parked back there, we're going to try to get you to 46 East and push you towards New Point. If you're at the high school, we're going to push you around past the factories up towards Walmart area and out to Freeland Road. And if you're just kind of parked in the residential area or a street side, we assume you'll probably make your way towards Lincoln Street and then make your way up towards Freeland Road as well. The Sheriff's Department, I believe, is planning on, once the event is over, anybody that's out there will head out towards State Road 46, and they will push them up to State Road 3 and then also up towards I-74. So if you're paying attention, that's a lot of traffic heading up towards State Road 3 and I-74. Highly encourage you, if you don't have to head that way from 3 o'clock until whenever everybody's gone, I wouldn't try to head out that way unless you have to. Road closures, so I'll speak on the city's side of it. For sure, Central Street will be closed from Big Blue to Northeast 80. We understand that that encompasses Lee Addition as well as Arbor Grove, and we will be having an informational meeting out there to talk to those folks and being able to get them and all their visitors in to hang out at their house, watch the event, and then to be able to get services into Arbor Grove. And that is also where the food trucks will be located on Central in front of the high school. And so we also will have a lot of pedestrian traffic across Central there. So it's just a little bit safer to close it off. Handicap parking will be in the front parking lot of the high school. And then general parking will be in the high school lot, and then we'll fill into the elementary school lot. And if we're still going and it's not been too wet, we'll use some grass areas and then out by the soccer fields, locations like that. And then Montgomery Road from Davidson Street to Lincoln Street. So basically the Carousel Center towards Lincoln, towards the hospital, will be one way going towards the hospital on Sunday. And that is, on Monday, not Sunday. On Monday, and that is just in case we have to get to the hospital. We don't want an ambulance to try to fight traffic to get through all that. So that's the major reason for that, and it also helps us push traffic away from Lincoln Street and around through the factories to the interstate. We do know that the backups are going to start on the interstate first. This is just statistical data from other locations. Once the interstates start getting full, they'll start backing up. Your highways will start backing up, and then your county roads will start backing up as well. We know everybody's going to put in their location into their GPS. And if you're like me, when you go on vacation and it pops up and says, we found a faster route, I usually take the faster route because I want to get there quicker. And oftentimes I find myself in the middle of Kentucky or somewhere on a backcountry road and wondering how I even got there. So we know that's going to happen here. One thing to think about is it is springtime. We're going to have a lot of farmers that are out moving equipment. We're going to have farmers in the field. I won't say a lot, some folks may have never seen a four-wheel drive tractor with a 30-foot disc going down a county road. So that's going to be new for them, and it may be new for the farmer who's not dealt with somebody that's never seen a four-wheel drive tractor with a 30-foot disc going down a country road. So we know that's going to happen as well. We also know, just from hearing from other locations, that people will wander out into the county. And the reason they do that is because it's dark. And to take the best pictures, they want the darkest place possible. So we know we're going to have people here, but we also know that there's going to be folks out in the county. And so we're anticipating that. And my last thing is, please be patient. and wave to our guests. It's still Decatur County. We still wave at everybody when we drive down the road. And if we all have that mindset on that day, I think it'll make things go a lot better. And I'll turn this over to Calvin Venable with EMS.
Thank you. Calvin Venable, Decatur County EMS. I also help represent the planning for the hospitals for this as well. So as far as EMS on Sunday, we'll be fully staffed. We normally staff 2 ambulances 24 hours a day. We'll have that. We'll also have an extra truck on that day. We'll have a truck with crews at both Pirate Park and the fairgrounds to help maintain that. From a hospital standpoint, they're going, along with the Board of Health, we'll have first aid stations at both locations. Monday, on the event day, we'll actually have a extra truck above and beyond what we had on Saturday or Sunday at Bernie Fire Department, and that will help us cover Bernie, St. Paul, and Adams using county roads. We'll put people out there that's been with the service for a long time, knows the county roads. So hopefully help if we get those calls in them areas instead of us trying to fight that traffic from here in Greensburg to get there. So that's our plans as of right now. Forgot this morning, one of the things that, we're talking about 65 degrees, but what you gotta understand is when the total eclipse happens, temperatures will drop up to 10 degrees during that time. So if it's a 45-degree day, it's gonna be 35. So be prepared for that. Tell your people that. I mean, that's from my standpoint, that's what I'm worried about, people hypothermia, of course, the medical stuff that the chief's already talked about. So other than that, that's all I have. Okay.
I'm Brad Spear with Decatur EMA. I just want to kind of cover, in talking with Homeland Security and things, this is going over 52 counties in the state of Indiana, so it's not just Decatur County doing this. The events in Indianapolis and other larger towns, cities, are going to fill up the interstates in a hurry. And that's what they were talking about, was this cascading down to the state highways, into the county roads. So keep that in mind, especially on Monday after everything's over. I think they covered pretty well everything else. We are working with the local volunteer fire departments out in the county and the town marshals as well. So for those areas, I do want to say there's a state site, Eclipse 2024.in.gov. Has a lot of good information, a lot of the same information you'll see on the other sites that they've talked about. And stress eye safety, especially if you've got kids. Philip talked about what it would do to your eyes to look at this directly without the right glasses. Keep an eye on the kids, make sure they've got the glasses, make sure they're using them properly. There are shields you can get, which is just what you see inside the eyeglass. It's just an 8.5 by 11 piece you hold up in front of your face. So that's a good option, especially for kids who don't like to wear glasses. So keep that in mind.
Talk about Code Red.
Oh, yeah, sorry. We will be using Code Red and Nixle both for that day for notifications. So we ask that you get signed up for Code Red, but if you still have Nixle, we will be using that during that day.
Thank you. So we are going to take questions. Dawn will ask that you step over here too, but a couple other things. So business-oriented meeting, we want to be sure we answer the questions related to that. So if you, we share all of this for a couple reasons. There's some items out there that you may want to be aware of that really aren't maybe that obvious. If you have an industry that's reliant on cell phones or phone lines for credit card transactions, there is a lot of concern, especially on the cell network, about stability and bandwidth to support the increased demand. We've asked for additional bandwidth and we've been told there isn't any to give, so you're stuck with what you have. We have backup plans to a third backup plan for public safety to communicate, but if you're credit card heavy, you might consider cash. If you typically don't carry cash, you might want to carry cash. And then at the risk of having a run on the banks, maybe don't do that on Friday before, do it the week before. But it's sort of things like that. If you have employees, if you have a shift change, maybe look at a half day or not working on Mondays or that Monday. Both school systems are closed on Monday, so childcare, those kinds of things will become extra maybe hard to get. Maybe the child care facility is not open on Monday because they don't want the kids there while there's an eclipse going on, so you might look at that. And then as a business, if you receive deliveries that typically come on Monday, don't. Friday is a great day to now get those deliveries. If you're a business that's not open on Sundays or Mondays, you might want to be. Does that impact you? If you have property that has a parking lot, are you going to allow people to park on your property or not? Are you going to charge for that? That's up to you. You get to make those decisions. But be thinking about that now, because one of the other items that we continue to struggle with is we've been told repeatedly there are no additional resources for us to use from other places. State police is exclusively dedicated to the interstate. All state troopers are working Monday, April 8th. All City of Greensburg employees are working April 8th. We are redirecting resources. Both county and city government offices are closed Monday, April 8th. And our services are going to run on Tuesday. So typical Monday trash will be on Tuesday. So we're making preparations for that. That's our sort of plea to you as residents and as business owners, to be thinking about that, to be thinking about how maybe something could impact you. And if you have questions regarding something along those lines, this is a great time, or contact any of us going forward. So if you have a question, we will ask you to step up here so that it's recorded.
I have a few questions. In regards to the fairgrounds, is there going to be a traffic flow change, or are we going to have two-way traffic?
Yes, so Park Road is going to be one way on Monday. It will be westbound only. So that way individuals will work. Sheriff's Department is going, I think it's Monday at noon. It will be one way so that we can make sure traffic is going that way so that we don't have issues with EMS, fire, law enforcement being able to get over that direction.
The other question. Oh, aircraft. Have we had any input as to flight plans or anything?
We talked to the airport, and there is no changes in their plans currently. They are looking at it, but they haven't made anything definite yet.
In regards to essential businesses, gas stations, I know a lot of them close up around midnight. Has any word been given as far as, are they planning on staying open 24/7 during the event?
Yeah, so we identified some of the key, like gas stations, grocery stores, people that will have a high impact of services that day. We invited this meeting. We told them, hey, get prepared. So we have been in contact with them, told them, hey, be ready for this. One of the emails, or I think it's a social media thing, I don't know, that's kind of going around was a lady that got caught in an Eclipse event out of her state, not near home, where she walked into a gas station and it had been pretty ravaged. There wasn't a whole lot on the shelves anymore, anything like that. Now, is that going to happen? We don't know.
So I assume that Walmart's probably on board with being open.
They were contacted as well, yes.
So no word from them though officially yet.
My assumption is they'll be open for business.
Okay, now, in regards to congestion, I know anybody that's in the area knows that that area is pretty congested around holidays, weekends, paydays. With this going on, I'm assuming that we're going to have a high police presence, traffic presence, control.
So no. So there will be gridlock and slow-moving traffic through that area. What we talked to NDOT as far as getting traffic control on those lights, because all the traffic lights along State Road 3 are connected. If we control one, we have to control all of them. And they were highly discouraging any type of traffic control like that. I honestly am going to dedicate my people more towards emergency response than I am directing traffic out of an intersection. So just expect it's going to be very busy, it's going to be gridlocked, and it's going to be slow getting where we want to go.
Right. I didn't catch it, maybe it was mentioned. Is there going to be an area or a site for guest information, people coming in from out of town, in regards to maybe a map of what, kind of a brief map that shows the areas and where everything's located?
I'm at the visitor center. We plan to have the visitor center open Saturday, Sunday, Monday, that weekend for visitors to come in, hopefully. We're sharing information with the hotels, so all those guests will hopefully know what's going on. We'll have printouts of the schedule of events at the Pirate Park, event and the Fairgrounds event, that are available. As far as a map, that's a good idea. I don't know that anybody has one of those specifically ready for the event yet, but that's something we could certainly look into, yeah.
Was part of your question digital oriented as far as a site, or were you?
Well, yeah, digital oriented or even just, physically oriented, a spot like maybe at Walmart, because a lot of people are gonna be probably coming in off of 74, I would think.
Yeah, there's a lot of digital traffic surrounding these. People look for where to go, in advance versus hopefully just showing up and saying, I'm gonna be here. There will be some of that. That's part of our biggest, the emergency side is there's a ton of people who just pull over on the side of the road because they're on the way to Michigan and didn't know anything about the eclipse and all of a sudden it's dark. So there is some of that happens. People pull over in fields, people pull over along highways. Visit Greensburg has a page dedicated to events that are happening in the county. And then on greensburg.in.gov, we have a Eclipse page that has all of the information that's presented here too. There is some search engine optimization that's happening and things like that to generate people that are targeted towards our event. So I think that information is available. It would be in everyone's best interest to help continue to share out the pages and the information surrounding that. That would be of benefit to probably everyone.
Next question, are we planning on or have thought about shuttles? As far as I know, we're gonna be parking people in one area and asking them to go to another area.
Yeah, so one thing, this was brought up 10 months ago, was how to best coordinate the events and to make sure that we did that. We opted out of shuttling, mostly due to liability reasons, but also just traffic. If we have 2 or 3 charter buses and they're all stuck in traffic, the shuttle's not really helpful. So we opted out of that. We're encouraging people to pick their event, go there, stay there. Whereas it is multiple days for both locations, hopefully that helps as well. Part of our plan for Sunday at Pirate Park is it's a great event locally. If you want to attend, we welcome it. We want you to come. It's a great opportunity to visit your neighbors and celebrate it. But it's also a little bit of a dry run. People that are in town, a lot of hotels have 2 or 3 night minimums. So a lot of people will start showing up on Saturday. We want them to come out, experience how the parking goes, where's the event, where are the bathrooms, oh, I should have brought this, and give them an opportunity for that. But we don't intend for people to go back and forth between the events or different locations. It's a come and go, but it was mostly rooted around liability of moving people.
In regard specifically to the fairgrounds, what are we looking at as far as camper parking, numbers wise? What do we have?
I think Kim has those specific numbers.
What's our capacity, I guess you could say?
Okay, I have measured out, and I have 200 plus campsites. Some of those are primitive. Some of those are up at the ball diamond behind the fairgrounds. Power of the Past had put in electricity. We use that at the Power of the Past. We have electrical skids that we were going to bring in that we can plug in and use for extra. Currently, the last couple nights, I've spent every waking hour on the phone until 10 o'clock at night. People are coming from Kentucky. They're coming from Georgia. I got people coming from Tennessee that are looking for someplace to camp. Some of them are bringing campers. Some of them are just driving their vehicle and want someplace to park that vehicle to sleep at. Did I answer your question? Yeah. Okay.
I think that covers it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief McNeely, you mentioned a while ago, Central Street was gonna be closed. Did you say from Big Blue or from Davidson?
Big Blue.
Okay, so that was my concern, was if we closed Central, how would you get there if, the other road is one way going the other way, but that answers it. Thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, I would like to again thank you for being here this evening. We are providing this in an effort to pump out as much information and make you as aware as possible. I want to thank our panelists up here who have given questions.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask a question.
Come on up then, Mr. Bill.
Is this on or off the record?
It's on the record.
Okay.
No, you're fine.
What about downtown? What do you expect to happen at downtown?
That's a great question. We obviously want people to experience downtown. Downtown does not lend itself terribly well to maybe something like this as a planned event. Obviously, the Fall Festival is incredibly successful every year, welcoming 7,000-ish people over 2 days. The ideas with this was the traffic, right? So when we started with public safety. That's been the root of this all along. And when campuses were identified to best control the public safety, control crowds, control exiting traffic, the sites were selected. So that drove that. We anticipate that downtown will be heavily visited. We believe that people will be there for restaurants and shopping and event viewing, right? But without it being a consolidated, condensed event, we anticipate for it to just be a very busy Saturday, Sunday, and Monday in downtown Greensburg. There are a lot of businesses that are not open downtown on Sundays and Mondays. We are encouraging them to be open so that that traffic of people, especially, and even Saturday afternoon, especially as people are in town looking for something to do, they're going to be attracted to downtown. It is well on our list of places to be very attentive to for public safety and public safety resources. Obviously, the visitor center's there. The commissioners have a tremendous interest in the courthouse, but it's not, like the courthouse isn't open. There's nothing like that, but we expect it to be busy.
Hey, Josh.
Oh.
I'll get to you in a second. Is that all right, Chief? Yeah. The other thing as well with the fairgrounds event is we are not discouraging people from leaving the fairgrounds Saturday and Sunday, and I guess this kind of piggybacks a little bit on your question for the shuttles. We want people to come here and stay out at the fairgrounds if they want to camp, and then go and enjoy the rest of Decatur County during that time period. So they will be going downtown. It's just when we actually get to Monday, it's going to be really hard to travel from one part of town to the other. And so when we get people to a location, we want them to stay at that location until after the conclusion of everything that happens. So we aren't trying to keep people just at the fairgrounds. You come, you can get a parking pass if you're staying the whole weekend, and so you can go in and out of the fairgrounds as many times as you want. You can come down to town, you can walk around, you can go somewhere else, you can go to St. Paul, you can go down to New Point, whatever you want to do, and then come back here and stay.
In 100 years, that photo of the courthouse against the Eclipse is gonna be worth a fortune.
We'll let you take it.
Thank you.
The other thing with that, Bill, Purdue University had a group of engineering students that were assigned to our county, and there was a study done by the students of if we were going to host events, where's the best place to do it. There were 3 event sites selected by the students. Pirate Park was number 1, the fairgrounds was number 2, North Decatur campus was number 3. Obviously, we didn't want to throw that in the middle of school because at the time we didn't know what was going to go on there. And then the county and the city were able to say, well, we could do these other 2 sites pretty easily. So it's not like we just threw a dart at the board. There was a lot of things that went into that as well. They took into account transportation flow. I mean, they had these students do all sorts of figuring that to make that determination.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, do you think you can have that walking trail from downtown down Park Road by then? It's been talked about for the last 10 years.
It's in the works.
You're the mayor, you're the
If I could get it done, we would.
That'd help our business too.
Yeah, it's coming. 27 is when we'll get started. 26 when we'll get started.
If the need does develop and you say, we're expecting, anywhere from 5,000 to 20,000 people, and all of a sudden, we've hit 20,000 people Sunday, and we've got more people coming in. Have we looked at an overflow? I mean, you mentioned North Decatur, the high school, all that. Is there an overflow area kind of designated, or is that something that we're just going to kind of wait and see?
I believe what I heard from the school was they were planning on closing their gates. They didn't want to accept the liability of all those folks coming onto their property. We understand that for sure. At that point, it's gonna be a free-for-all. I mean, honestly, and I'm just being 100% honest with you. People are gonna find a spot to park, they're gonna fill up parking spots, they're gonna go to the churches, fill their lots, those are usually, you know, pretty good sized parking lots. They're gonna look for dark areas with no trees.
The other thing you'll see is they call it cascading when we talk to DNR. These places fill up, they start looking at St. Paul, New Point, all the others. So yeah, it's gonna spread, and the best we can do is try to control that. And I don't know where we would direct them, other than the parking lots at the churches and other places.
Yeah, Brandon, real quick. We had one of the pastors here earlier today, and he said, you know, if they wanted to be partners and open their parking lot, what could they do to help? And we kind of just said, you just be open. I think it's interesting. So when we do the fall festival, is 7,000 a good number, Mark?
Last year on Friday night, we had 7. On Saturday, we had 11.
Yeah, so now those are generally a high percentage of that is residents. So we're moving one person from one place in town to another. But you can put 11,000 people in downtown, and it's busy, it's packed.
But they all figure out where to park.
But it fits, right? It fits. So we think we can take, and that's why we're encouraging alternative modes of transportation. We know some people are gonna go to work, some people are gonna stay home. So we think we can probably squeeze in 7,000 people via car at Pirate Park. Like, we think if we max out the school campus, we think that'll fit. Good luck. But that's a pretty big number. And then you take people from in town and you add to it, and all of a sudden we do start to see how it fits. And obviously thousands of people can be at the fairgrounds too. But instead of just moving one resident to one section of town for the fall festival, we're bringing in one, so everyone can have one. So we think we're gonna clear it, but to the Chief's point, it will be a little bit of free for all after that. To Brad's point, people will move to other places.
What is the latest population numbers for Decatur County?
I always use 13 and 25, 26.
Roughly 26.8 was the last official one we used with the state grid.
So we're expecting to double the population in a couple days.
That's pretty much been the guide given. Columbus is looking anywhere from 20 to 70,000. That's their range. I did have a regional call with them a couple weeks ago. They're working on a very, very, very large event at the airport over there. So people are looking in the tens of thousands.
But they've also had businesses close. Cummins is closing down, Toyota's closing down, things like that, which helps with the daytime population of not having to fight all that as well.
Mayor, this morning you talked a little bit about when there is a total eclipse, that span of time, what happens. Can you just hit on that, because I think that's interesting?
Sure. So 3.5 minutes of total darkness in the middle of the afternoon is quite odd. Solar or street lights will come on. Anything on a photo cell will come on. I've talked to Duke Energy about some light control items around Pirate Park, and if we can do that. We're still stumbling through what options we have there. We've asked the school system if they can deactivate all of their exterior lights. They said, we'll look into that, because we've never had to request doing that before. But birds chirp, crickets come out, animals get all wonky. The moon does things to people and animals, and I'm sure everybody's got a different opinion of the full moon, so we just have the full moon in reverse this go around. So it should be quite interesting, but it does have an impact. It does have that much of an effect. And as Chief Sturmer mentioned, it's a long window. 3.5 minutes is a big one. The most that this eclipse generates is like 4 minutes and 3 seconds in South Texas. And so once it exits Indiana, the duration falls off significantly as it exits out over Dayton and New York. So we are kind of the furthest east. Indiana's the furthest east that major eclipse viewers, which do truly travel not only all over the country but all over the world for, can see it. So if they're in the eastern United States and they are a dedicated eclipse viewer, they are coming to Indiana.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Are the
volunteer opportunities?
Oh, yeah, actually, we missed that. If you'd like to volunteer, we'd love to have you. Mark Carmen. Actually, you're already on my list. I've got the perfect job for you.
I've got a better one over with the county.
He's a city councilor.
Hopefully we get more, because we're all gonna be fighting over that
Right.
one person right there.
Yeah. Volunteers are more than welcome. We would love to have you from anything from the phone banking, phone trees, parking, volunteers. I'm sure Power the
I'll
Path.
take a couple assistants.
Yeah, a couple assistants, a little bit of everything. If you have a very specific skill that you want to use, like, hey, I'm just fantastic at this, we can probably find you a job for that too.
Awesome. Any other questions or comments? All right, well, I want to again thank you guys for coming out. The Chamber's role in all this was just to be a vehicle to allow this to happen. And so we're extremely proud to not only have the capability to do that, but to be a part of a community that, as we are represented tonight, you can see works very, very well together. We have been in numerous conversations with other communities, even surrounding Greensburg and Decatur County, and not everybody has what we have up here. So kudos to you guys. Thank you so much for all of your time and your efforts. Ladies, I shouldn't have said guys, sorry. Thank you to all of you. And if you guys are okay, we're gonna dismiss. Have a great, safe, and rest of your evening. Thank you so much.